Well, hello and good day to all of you wonderful viewers out there. Hi, I'm Awesome Joe, and thank you guys so much for taking in the time of your day to watching another episode of Awesome Joe's Play-Back-to-Back movie reviews. And today we're going to be talking about the newest movie out in theaters right now, a character from Marvel Comics that is not part of the MCU so far, but it is part of the Sonyverse, Morbius. This is a movie that has been delayed for already 2 years, and now we finally got it. It's finally out in theaters. We have the opportunity to watch it. We've seen a lot of marketing material, theatrical trailers, posters, and even critical reviews based off of how they felt of watching the movie on early screen time. And I mean, there's just so much about this movie that I really would love to talk about, but I'm trying to really get into the habit of holding my tongue to avoid spoilers, especially for the new movies that are out there in theaters. All I want to say is I either want to inspire or discourage you to go and watching this movie out in theaters. I mean, the choice is really up to you. And the last time it was delayed, it was announced that it was going to come out in January, and I was so excited I couldn't wait. But then I heard they went ahead and delayed it several months more, which is until now in April. And I'm just, as much as I was very excited, getting very closer to the day of its debut, I'm just really crossing my fingers and hoping that on movie news that this movie wasn't delayed once more again, several months or even another year. So, before I watched the movie, I did hear a lot of critics. I mean, I grew curious. I heard from a lot of critics that this movie is just god-awful. And I'm wondering to myself, asking, should I go and watch this then? Because honestly, I really do trust all of the other critics that I do watch. And for them having to say how terrible of a movie it is, should I just follow their advice and just not go and watch this thing and maybe just wait until it comes out on digital release? Possibly so, but me being a movie critic myself, regardless of how awesome or terrible the movie could be, I think that it deserves a time to go off and watch. So that's what I did. I wanted to go and watch it. I really wanted to discover for myself as to whether or not, me personally, would I have loved the movie or not. Well, this movie is directed by Daniel Espinosa. And I've seen the list of movies that he has directed, and the only one that seems very familiar to me that that is actually a huge plus for me when it comes to this movie of Morbius is the movie Life, which is back in 2017 with Jake Gyllenhaal and so many others. I actually loved that movie, and him having to coming in and directing this movie, I find it as a good plus. I really do. So we got, of course, obviously, Michael Morbius being played by Jared Leto, an Academy Award winner, coming in and playing this character. The only way I knew Morbius is through the animated Spider-Man cartoon show that I used to watch when I was a kid. And of course, and I think that he had this relationship with Felicia Hardy, and then he would suck people's blood, not from the fangs, but he had these suction cups in his hands and place them on the neck and just drink. So I was expecting that's my Morbius. That's the one I was expecting to see in this movie because he is a Spider-Man villain. But apparently in this movie, of course, what Sony wants to do is develop their own universe, even though it is Marvel, but away from the MCU itself, becoming its own thing. Now that we're living in a world that is involving multiverses, given more opportunity out there as a definite explanation as to the reason why these certain situations are occurring. So this Morbius is not a villain, but more portrays itself as the protagonist, the hero, and I don't know. For me, I would have loved the movie at least a little bit better if the Morbius character was a villain, because there is a villain in this. And that is, was it Lucius Smith, which is named Milo, played by Matt Smith. And I actually like this guy. This guy is really cool. But the way that he acts in this movie is a little too villainous. It's very complicated and hard to portray a villain when you seem to behave yourself as like a Saturday morning cartoon villain. That's what it felt like. And he is exactly what Morbius is. You know, he is the same kind of vampire that Morbius is, just the fact that he seeks definite freedom based off of, you know, receiving the serum and going off and killing people by drinking their blood, when of course Morbius's character is someone who drinks this made up blood that he had created as a blood transplant cure. I don't know. I'm not a scientist here, and it's really hard for me to define in particular terms what they describe in the movie itself. I love the brotherhood relationship between the two. They've known each other ever since they were kids. They're not brothers, but they have a lot of similarities. You know, they are on this desperate journey to finding a cure for their disease that they have lived their entire lives with. So that's what leads us into them becoming these Marvel vampires, which I really don't think would have any similar connection to the Blade character, the Mahershala Ali, that is part of the MCU, not the Sonyverse. So, but it would have been really great getting to seeing a movie with Morbius and against Blade. That would have been a really good movie, because I know that there is an episode of those two clashing up against each other in the animated Spider-Man TV show. So it would have been really great getting to seeing those two clash against each other. So it would have been really great. Now, of course, in every single comic book movie, there always has to be a romance chemistry, and the female actress in this playing the character Martine, which is Adria Arjona, and she's very beautiful. I mean, she's just fantastic. But in this movie, the way that the love chemistry is between these two with Morbius and Martine doesn't really click. You know, these two work together. They're both doctors. They both help each other out in developing this cure. But the way that it felt this entire movie, it kind of felt a little much like Incredible Hulk mixed with The Wolfman back in 2010 with Benicio del Toro and Anthony Hopkins. That's what it felt like to me. It felt like it should have been one of those monster movies that Universal was developing with that terrible, I know I can never let it go, but that terrible 2017 Mummy movie with Tom Cruise in it. That's what it really felt like. But yeah, the romantic chemistry between the two characters didn't really click. There is, in particular, like I said, there is no, I'm trying to avoid spoilers in this, but there is an in particular sequence that happens towards the ending of the movie that really just popped out of nowhere. Had nothing to do with the story. Maybe because setting up a possible sequel, but because of how this movie is getting a lot of negative results, I find that I don't really see that a Morbius 2 could be in development. It doesn't, I mean, I'm not really 100% sure, but it's really debating after this weekend as to how the box office is going to look. But critically wise, I already know for a fact that it is a massive failure. But yeah, there's no click between the romantic chemistry between the two. It was announced before the movie was released that the majority of the original material was removed. So we all know from based off of watching the trailers and TV spots that there was a lot of Spider-Man references in the movie. And, you know, one in particular is one when Morbius is walking down the street passing a poster with Spider-Man on it, spray-painted murderer. Not in the movie. There's some different Tombs scenes. Tombs, which is Adrian Toomes, played by Michael Keaton from Spider-Man: Homecoming, was revealed in the trailers to show that he was going to be in the movie, that there was going to be some interactions between the two characters. We'll talk more about that later. And no Oscorp. There is no Oscorp, so that's weird. And there's another character here that Tyrese Gibson plays called Agent Strahd. And in the trailers, it showed that his character had some sort of robotic arm that actually Gibson's character references in the movie, giving thanks to Morbius for creating this made-up blood that helped him during his time in Afghanistan. So I get that, but yet we don't really move anywhere forward with that. We don't really see anything when it's involving this so-called robotic arm that Gibson's character has on him during the movie. So that was cut out as well. So like I said, a lot of stuff happens in the movie, in the trailers, in the marketing material, that is not even in the movie. Instead of it having to have references in debuts of the MCU or with the Venom universe, it's definitely for sure based in the Venom universe, because that scene where Morbius announces himself as Venom but actually is Morbius, that's in the movie. So at least they kept that reference in. But yes, I will go ahead and explain about that's something that I will spoil, because that is something that I really do want to talk about and make sure that I'm very clear, because this entire week has been very interesting. A lot has happened. Of course, we all know about the whole Will Smith and Chris Rock thing happening at the Academy Awards. Then this thing going on with Ezra Miller being a complete... I mean, I don't want to define him in anything, but just making a lot of mistakes and crucial actions. And then Jim Carrey having to announcing his retirement from film. I mean, it's just so much is going on, and so much that I would love to talk about. But obviously, as you all know, I really don't have the time. My schedule is always beyond complicated, and so I really have to fit in whatever I can into making these videos. So like I said, I just finished watching Morbius, and I said, you know what, I have available time, I already have the material prepared, I might as well just go ahead and talk about this movie, record myself while it's all fresh in my head. Just to give up the rest of the cast, you got Dr. Emil Nicholas, played by Jared Harris. Then this Agent Rodriguez, played by Al Madrigal, who is pretty much the comedic character in this, giving off a few laughs, some comedic material in the movie just to make it feel a little bit more fun. There was some chuckle moments in the movie, but not enough to say, oh wow, I'm having a blast, I'm laughing my ass off watching this movie. But no, it's not. And you know what? I want to throw this out here before I forget, that this movie should have been rated R. But I understand that they want to keep it PG-13. But remember, this is a vampire movie. Vampires are associated with drinking blood. That's the definite description of what a vampire is. I mean, they PG-13 the Twilight movies. There was blood involved in that, but of course they kept it very minimal to avoid it being rated R. But here it's very dark tone. It's very dark tone enough to where the brutal killings that happen in this movie should have been rated R, because there are some kills that happen that there is no blood in sight. And I want to point this out here. The reason why they put it PG-13 is to make more seats available for audiences to come and watching this. I've watched rated R movies, and the very recent one that I watched in theaters was Jackass Forever a couple of months ago. We all know that movie is beyond rated R, but yet parents continue. I even brought this up in the review. Parents still continue to bring their children out to watching this movie, and a lot of really, oh my god, inappropriate behaviors happen in that movie that children should not be watching, but yet are still there. So I find that if you're going to make a movie PG-13, but yet should have been rated R, please let it be rated R. I mean, honestly, those seats will still be open for the ones who are not permitted to go and watching this, because I don't know why parents. I'm not a parent myself. I am not a parent, but I know I don't understand. I just don't understand why parents would take a child to go see a rated R movie, but they do. So that's out there. So really quickly before I go ahead and finish up here, Rotten Tomatoes, which I could not believe, I saw that it was at a 16%. Holy cow! A lot of people did not like this movie. I think there was only, but not that a lot of people. Last I heard, I think it was about 11 critics giving it a terrible percentage, bringing it to the 16%. But for me, I actually enjoyed the movie. I don't hate. I can't say I hated the movie, nor will I say that I loved it. You know, it's still in the middle there. But if I were to have to pick between the two, I absolutely do not love it. I really don't love it. So I would have to move it towards, yes, I do. I just don't like it. I really don't. It's I would say a watch one time only. It's not a movie that I would say I would love to watch again. It's like watching a movie just only one time. I do like it better than Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I'll go ahead and give it that. I actually do like it a lot better than Venom, Let There Be Carnage. So, which is why I went ahead and gave this movie a 47%. 47% is what I give it. I think it's a very fairable rating. Because I was actually thinking to myself while I was sitting back and enjoying the credits, thinking of just thinking to myself for the next 10 minutes, how am I going to feel about this movie, and what percentage rate would I even do? Where would I put it? So yes, I went ahead and with my final conclusion, I gave it a 47, and I think it's very fair. Like I said, don't hate it, don't love it, but if I had to pick one or the other, it would most definitely be I hated it. So. Spoiler alert here. This is something that I really want to talk about because I don't have time to do another video here, but here we go. You have been warned. Spoiler alert. Alright, so we're going to be talking about the two mid-credit scenes that happen. There is no end-credit scene at the ending of the credits. It's two mid-credit scenes that happen almost back-to-back here. You get the animated credits going on as soon as the immediate movie stops, is over. And in the middle of it, you get this... I'll point this out too, is that there was actually one person in our theater. The theater was packed. It was full of people. People wanted to go and watch this. There was one person really went bonkers. I mean, he was literally going so crazy when the sky cracked open purple, just like in Spider-Man No Way Home. And I was caught at awe too when I saw that. I was like, oh, what is happening? What is going on? I'll admit it. It is a lot better than what happened with the stupid Venom coming back to his own universe when he should have been stuck in the MCU fighting against Spider-Man. I would have wanted that. I really did love the mid-credit scene to Venom, Let There Be Carnage. That was probably the only thing that I loved about that movie. But here, this is out of nowhere in an empty jail cell. Adrian Toomes, Michael Keaton, comes into that empty cell and says the most ridiculous line, saying that I hope the food here is more better. And I'm like thinking, why aren't you freaking out, dude? Like, you don't even, you're not involved with magic. You were in Spider-Man Homecoming, which is very down to earth, and all you were dealing with was with tech. I mean, yes, you dealt with the Jitari, because you're dealing with the weaponry and all that stuff, but I'm like thinking, why aren't you freaking out? Something just happened to you, and all I could say is, I hope the food here is a lot better. Wow. And then that he's released out of prison because there is no record of him being to be locked up. He has no family, his wife, his child. Everything that he knew from the MCU, he no longer has in this Venom Morbius world. So he's released from prison. And then that's the ending of that one. But then we come up to another mid-credit scene where Morbius drives out into the middle of nowhere and sees it within the distance that something was coming towards him, which is none other than the Vulture that looks very much more Vulture-like, but still the same resemblances to the Vulture look in Spider-Man Homecoming. And I don't know, it's just, I'm thinking, how did you come upon the suit? You know, it's like there is no Chitauri in this universe here, and you do not have the capabilities of having to building this thing. And people are asking, well, or was saying that, well, he got the suit. You know, it has to be in Andrew Garfield's universe because there he went to Oscorp and stole the wings, and now he's a Vulture again. It's like, but those wings were a lot more smaller. These Vulture wings are like massively huge. So I don't really see the comparison there, and I don't really think that that is the case. I would love it if it was Andrew Garfield's universe, because I love Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. I loved his movies, both of them, and I would love to see him again. And I was very excited and out of my mind when I saw him in Spider-Man No Way Home. So I really want more Andrew Garfield. But it looks like Sony is just doing their own thing. There's their whole Sinister Six build-up. And point this out too, is that the movie is an hour and 30 minutes long. The movie does go by fast. A lot of stuff, they just don't waste any time. They get straight onto the story and onto the point, which is what I definitely am okay with. Unlike how I felt about Batman taking 3 hours, which I really thought was very unnecessary. But yeah, and it's this interaction between these two characters is Vulture asking Morbius to team up and go off and do some good. And I'm just like thinking, so what are your intentions against Spider-Man? What are your intentions to going up against Spider-Man? These two in particular scenes, even though they were very interesting to watch, really did not have any definite meaning to the Morbius movie itself. There was nothing in the movie that brought us to these in particular moments that happened in the mid-credit scenes. It looked as if, though, the movie itself was just a gimmick, just to throw us into wanting to watching these mid-credit scenes, to have the build-up as to what Sony is trying to do. And did I like that? Yes and no. You know, it's like, yes, I am excited. I really would like to go and see what they're going to be doing next. But you have to make everything make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then you really don't have a plan. You don't have a I can't pronounce it. You just don't have a plan. So, I mean, just get your stuff together. Get good writers. Write the stuff out. Put it all together. And then you'll have a really good story for fans to go out and wanting to watching this thing. And you would have a successful franchise, a successful cinematic universe. And you know, and Marvel, I'm pretty sure the MCU, Marvel, Kevin Feige is more than happy to help. You know, it's just you gotta quit being on your own terms here and say, you know what, we're in trouble and we're gonna need you guys' help in order for us to climb ourselves up into success, just like you guys. So I don't know. It's just so much that happened in this movie. Like I said, a lot of good, a lot of bad, mainly bad, but I still enjoyed the movie. It is a one-time viewing. Something, like I said, would not recommend to go and watching again. I recommend to go watching it, and I would love to know what everybody's ideas are about how you felt of the movie. But anyways, you guys, that's my review for Morbius. What did you guys think? Have you guys checked it out just yet? It is out right now. Check it out at your local theaters. If you have any questions, comments, complaints, or concerns, please feel free to leave it down in the comment section in the bottom, and let's have an awesome time talking about this movie or any movies that you'd like to talk about in general, because I love to talk about movies, but most importantly, I love to talk about them with you. And don't forget that you can check out some more of my videos on Facebook and on YouTube. Just look me up at Awesome Joe Movie Reviews. Don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button there, you guys. I really do appreciate everybody's support in my channel. It is a huge personal hobby of mine, and I love sharing it amongst all of you wonderful viewers out there. So, once again, I am Awesome Joe. Keep on living the dream, and as always, stay awesome. Thanks, you guys, and I'm having a very busy week right now. Like I said, there's still so much material that I'm developing right now. We're getting Sonic the Hedgehog 2. We are getting, we got the first episode of Moon Knight. I'm waiting for the second episode of Moon Knight to come out in order for me to do a video because, like I said, time is very limited. And then you get Fantastic Beasts, the Secrets of Dumbledore coming out. Just so much is happening. I'm so excited. April is jam-packed full of stuff. I can't wait to talk about it. But anyways, you guys, I'll see everybody in the next video. Bye.